it going, Podcastration Classic hosers? Today's bonus episode that you're going to be listening to / perhaps watching is about the once quaint, lovely little town near Worthington, Pennsylvania, known as Yellowdog. When I was a kid there, it was formerly called Shadyside Village, but everybody known it as Yellowdog, since it was a mining town from late 1800s to, mid-50s or something, or 70s. And apparently something to do with workers' union nonsense, and the workers / laborers were called Yellowdoggers. I don't know. But that's what the town was named when we grew up, and that's where I lived, born and raised, along with my best friend, Zach Boda, who was going to join me on this episode, on location, in Yellowdog. Yeah, so this is going to be cool. It is now a dilapidated ghost town. It looks like Chernobyl. We lived there from the mid-80s to 2000, and in that time, it wasn't a bad town at all. It was really nice. We had playgrounds, ball fields, we had sports club right down the road, rode our bikes, played in the creek, fished, all that fun stuff. And then new owners came and just let it go, and sewage was leaking into the water supply or something. I don't know. The town had to be sold, yada, 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 a bunch of boring shit you don't care about. But you're going to hear it anyway, because this one's important to me. I'm going to have a little bit of recycled footage from my bike ride around that area, but I got some new stuff. I'm going to have a bit of slideshow here or there, some pictures, and it's kind of sad, the way it panned out. I miss that town, all that fun shit, but I will explain it. Here's the episode. I'm going to shut up. Thanks for subscribing or whatever, however you're listening to this, and let's get at it. Yellowdog with Zach Boda.
Grab a beer, sit down, and stick around. In 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, we're officially recording.
Are we live?
Yes, we are.
We're live. Well, it won't be live when you guys listen to it, I guess.
No.
Leave it on our live, and we're in one of our favorite places.
Yeah, we're down here in the town we grew up in, down in Yellowdog, Pennsylvania.
Also known as Shadyside Village in
that's
Worthington.
The official title, Shadyside Village, but it was always known as Yellowdog.
That's what we called it. That's what my mom grew up.
I guess we
Your
could.
dad.
What's
Your
that?
family grew up there too, right? So
yeah.
It's got a strange, multi-generational thing for us.
Yeah, there's a lot of family history in a small town. So I guess I might as well start off with a little bit of history of the town, at least as I know it. Mm-hmm. At least is what I've dug up on the old interweb. So about half hour, 40 minutes north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, there's a small little town called Worthington. And about 5 minutes drive out of Worthington, there's Buffalo Creek. And then along Buffalo Creek around the late 1800s, early 1900s, they dug into the hills and started mining limestone. And I don't know how long they did this. I think Yellowdog was built in late 40s, early 50s.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. They, they wisely probably, somehow they realized instead of people riding their horses or their Packards,
trying to trailer people in,
or
they did.
Big heavy Packard cars, whatever they had in the 50s, down. I assume this. What I always grew up on. We grew up with a road. But I assume back then it was just a dirt path,
Yeah.
So anyway, they built houses for the miners to live in with their families, and you just walk across the bridge over the creek up into the mines. And there's about how many rows up? About 25 to 30 duplexes. Sound about right?
Yeah, probably 20.
No, they're duplexes, so that means obviously each house split in two. There's, two families can live there. And so yeah, we're not talking, very much.
It's not high living.
Right along Buffalo Creek. And so the reason the town was called Shadyside Village when we grew up. But I don't know if it ever had an official name, but it was always called Yellowdog. So it was something to do with the miners with like a workers union.
That's interesting. I've never heard this story, so
Yeah.
I'm curious.
So if it was, I don't know if you were, I can't remember if you were pro union or if you were against the union, but one of them was you were called a Yellowdogger.
Okay.
And I don't know if how derogatory it was meant to be.
I'm sure it was derogatory, and I would think
Yeah.
ituld be non-union, just because of the area we're from.
Yeah, so I assume pro-union because the people who lived in the town were obviously the employees, or the miners, the workers.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume they were pro-union, so they were called Yellowdoggers, and the town was called Yellowdog. And but the mines ended, and I don't know when. I assume at least by the 70s, 60s, sometime. I don't know. But they just kept the town. People have been living there ever since. Well, they've been living there since up till 2005, and then
that's when it.
Yeah, the town shit the bed. They ended up having sewage in the water. The town, all the duplexes have asbestos, which
The
glad to
houses
know
are
now.
garbage. And it costs more money to actually demo them, so they're just sitting there rotting away, which is kind of sad because it's a pretty cool place.
Yeah,
got a lot of fun memories, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah,
in the conversation, but it's really fascinating. I'm not sure when the mushroom mines started though, because that would have been where the changeover was from being a limestone mine into being a
that's a big part of the mushrooms. The big part of the town history. Yeah, the limestone mines ended, so they used all them tunnels to grow mushrooms in. Mm-hmm. Which, if you're not around here, that sounds cheesy, but it's a pretty big deal. There's a lot of. We both worked there. That was a standard thing in Worthington. Most of the population at some point, especially when you're young, worked as you're a picker or a worker at the mushroom mines.
That was the only option. I mean, you could go to tanning and whatnot.
Yeah,
but that was basically where you started. Was if you weren't farming, you got a job in pack house or picking.
Go down into the tunnels and pick mushroom mines. I was in a coal department there. I got to ride around in golf carts, drive the mine buggies. Mm-hmm. Got to drive the big forklift and bucket around like a Bronco every once in a while. So, yeah. But really, we want to get into our personal childhood and growing up in this little town because, as you can imagine, when you're a little kid, you accumulate a lot of stupid little stories. This town was a great kid. This town was a great kid. This town was a great place. It was a great place for kids to grow up because we had a park. We had a little park down along the creek with a ball field, horseshoe pits. And it
was down a steep hill, so it was really fun. For wintertime, man.
Yeah,
we
got the sled riding
all the time.
Up the road, just a quarter of a mile, was the Buffalo Valley Sportsman's Club, which I've spent about half my youth there. A lot of my weekends up there. That's where all the old guys, my dad and all of his friends would go there and get drunk and shoot guns and have a good time, which nowadays oh my goodness, people hear that and they're ready to lynch them. But back when I was a kid in the 90s, you could still drink a few beers and shoot some guns because, I don't know, apparently back then people weren't as stupid as they are now. And just because you had a little bit of alcohol in you doesn't mean you're pointing guns at people and spraying bullets everywhere.
Or sensitive, maybe.
Yeah.
Is the politically correct
thing.
But maybe that would piss people off, too.
Yeah, who knows? People just get pissed. That's people's hobbies now, getting pissed at things.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time between the two places because, what is it, maybe a quarter of a mile, if that?
Yeah, if that. We were on our bikes, so we wouldn't even walk.
It was always BMX bikes. Levon had the sweet GT.
What the
hell were the brakes called on those? Because I remember you bragging about them.
I don't know. There was like cantilever brakes or something.
It was a big deal, and I had this cheap, garbage old Huffy that was heavy as hell. But
I had to do my time because if you remember, I also had a purple Murray.
Yeah, okay, I had a
purple Murray with purple bike frame with bright orange handlebar grips and shit, and the handlebars were stripped. And I wasn't full on BMXing, but we did. I do a lot of jumping, and every jump, the friggin' handlebars would slam down. Sometimes so far they'd hit off the bike frame, and I'd just prop them back up, tighten them. But it didn't work. These things would just strip out, but I didn't care. But
so it's reminiscing back. That was probably the biggest pastime. I think we spent most of our time on our bikes.
Yeah, I would say bikes and BB guns. That's what we did in Yellowdog.
We still got in trouble, but we always had BB guns in our hands. We got in a good deal of trouble or something. Didn't one family say we were trying to shoot at their girls or something?
Something
the cops
like
showed
that.
up. My mom.
I remember the cops showed up because we were shooting.
Were your boys shooting at girls. I'm like, okay, we do shoot BB guns, but we're not that
Yeah.
disrespectful and big assholes. Like,
No,
I don't know.
we never did that. You might even be able to pick, if you're picking up gunshots in the background during this, that's the Sportsman's Club down the road. So that lets you know how we're not far away. And no, the bullets ain't shooting in our direction. Everything's safe.
We are
So,
dumb. We're not
yeah.
that dumb.
See, I know one thing tied into the mushroom mines. I remember about Yellowdog was like a day like today, you would get that strong compost smell.
Oh, I missed that. I
would
hated it as a kid, but now
Yeah, I never. Yeah, it was like because what it was generally, when you woke up in the morning, I assume it's like this on a farm. You know, when you wake up and you go out your front doors, the more it smelled like shit, the nicer the day was. That meant it was like a still, usually sunny day. Because if it like when it got, it could do it cold or hot, but it seemed like if it was hot and humid, sometimes it would push the, I don't know, I guess it'd lower the smell scent down, and like if it was too cold of air, I don't know, maybe it would like the scent would rise higher or something. I don't know, but it was generally meant like, yeah, the weather was better. So that's like he said, it's and when people came to visit this place, they're like, how do you live like this? But you just get used to it. And like I said, the more it stunk usually meant like that was an all day outside day.
All day outside, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't even know how would we meet up. Did we just end up outside, or did I end up at your place?
I don't know. Usually I think I probably went over to your house a lot.
Summers were the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
School's out. It's like every day. We'd be up to the crack of dawn, out all night.
Well, I got a good list here of memories. How about before we forget, we'll do the beer review here because.
Oh yeah, I definitely forget. So I live over in Butler, and I am very fond of Butler Brew Works. They're my favorite brewery.
I'm pretty sure we reviewed a couple.
I'm sure because I usually drop them off for you.
Yeah.
But I picked up a growler of their Mosaic. What the hell is it called now? I can't remember what it's called.
Me either.
I know I said it when I got here, but but it's good. It's not too bitter of an IPA.
No, I'm liking it.
I think they did it with a bit of a Belgian white twist to it, so it has just enough dryness, just enough bubbles. Like it's a really good beer. I don't know. I'll let him do the rating, but I've had this multiple times. Mosaic Mirage.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it was called. And I'm sorry if I butcher that, but yeah, Butler Brew Works. Anyway, they're over in Butler.
I really like it.
You should look them up, and definitely visit them. They're fighting just like every other small restaurant / bar amidst this COVID, partial opening stuff. So their beer seems expensive, but you want to get some good fresh beer for a weekend. I would strongly suggest swinging through your local breweries and buying some of their beer.
Help your breweries and your liver.
Yeah,
they both need help.
So what do you think about this beer, Levon?
I think it's a good beer to start the day off with. What time is it? About 1 now?
It's probably 1.
12:30.
1:30.
Yeah. It's it's pretty damn good. I still can't give it a 5. I'm trying to
No, it's not 5.
I'm trying to slack off. Yeah, I'm trying to be pretty because I actually just gave one recently that I really like, but it's definitely a 4. I'd give it a 4.5, but I'm trying to avoid the half shit. Because if you're going to give it a half, then just do 1 through 10s. But I'm going to give it it's a 4. But like I said, 4 of my things pretty damn good. So
that's solid. I feel like when I started listening to you review beers on here, it was usually like 3. I think pretty much everything was 3. More recently, we had a few that's like, this is better. This is This is a 4.
They've just been good. We kind of know what we're getting into when we pick them, but yeah. All right, so let's get into but in a previous episode, we've already talked about how we met. So
did we do the whole you came out in the skateboard thing?
Yeah.
Did we talk about that? Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to hear that, you got to get start at season 1 and listen your way through till you hear it. It's definitely worth it. No, it's not. But
that was probably one of the best days though. Not to be all lovey-dovey and cheesy, but you start out like that, and I think back wow, Levon was too cool for school.
Yeah.
Sitting on his skateboard.
Oh, I was
hardballing me, and then guess what? We're how many years later now?
Yeah, well,
a good 25,
35
years later.
So about
it's a good 20 years later, and
something like that. Yeah.
We don't get to hang out as much, but it never changes. You can still just sit down together and laugh about all the history.
So, first of all, I didn't even say your name. Well, everyone knows me. I'm Levon Bryan. So obviously, this is Zach Boda.
That's that's who I'm in. That's who's talking with
I didn't
me right now.
introduce myself,
so
but you guys don't
that
really
is-
care who
no.
I am anyway.
That's a fellow Yellowdogian, as we said. So one of the first things I do remember, I don't know, I have a list here of shit. So if if it sounds like I'm reading some of it, that's because I am.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I remember was Zach still had one of the best shirts ever. And I actually tried looking it up on eBay, and I can't find it. Or if I did, it's like ridiculously overpriced or not in my size. But Gary Larson, the guy that does he did the Far Side cartoons, which is like that's an 80s thing, 80s, early 90s thing. That the funny pictures with the like quotes underneath it, and he had the one. Now when we were, this tells you how long ago it was when we, that we knew each other. New Kids on the Block were still a big band.
That was like the only boy band. That was like the first boy band.
That was the first
Early
boy
90s,
band.
I guess.
They were horrible. And Zach had a shirt that was from the Far Side guy that said New Kids Under the Block. And it was this giant cement block with legs sticking out under it and blood trickling out. And I remember that was fucking great. That's still
it's a good joke. That's a good comic.
Yeah, it's if you know a lot of people that probably don't remember this shit or know that shit, but if you're around when we were young, that's a funny thing. I remember another big memory is I remember when you threw up on me on the school bus.
That was like the first week of school.
Yeah.
And I was brand new. I had a broken wrist. I was a
yeah,
dick.
right.
I don't know why you're friends with me.
I remember you had the
Why did
trombone.
you stay friends with me?
Oh, well, believe me, I've done dick. I think I have a few dickheadish things that I've done on this list. Yeah, I remember. Here's the funny part though. Zach was on the outside of the seat, so he was in the aisle, and he just, for whatever reason, I think you had your trombone, I think, sitting on the aisle beside you. Did you play trombone at the time? I think. Yeah. But I just remember, for whatever reason, you leaned over on my side and threw it. It barely got me. I remember I had to get socks. I think I might have got some jeans or something, but it wasn't.
You still had to go to the nurse's office, and you had to get nurse's hand-me-down clothes.
It was really nothing, but it was just funny. But I just remember that was like, even I remember like, I'm pretty sure I remember like I wasn't like mad or anything. In school, I still remember like getting a nurse's office, like, when you're explaining it, it's pretty funny. Yeah, I remember that. I remember, I don't even know if you were in. This might have even been before you lived here. I don't know if you're a part of this or not. I remember. The town's along Buffalo Creek, as we said, and the first day of fishing season, the trout season, is a holiday down.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, it's a big deal.
People come swarming down here.
I would think anyone that's going to listen to this, unless it's your Mongolian listener, is going to know where Buffalo Creek is. Because even Pittsburghers it's a pretty big deal for trout season.
People come down, they camp out, they party all weekend, sometimes all week. And so anyway, the first day of fishing, everyone's down here along the creek fishing. And it was the older kids, but I tagged along. And they started throwing rocks into the water, and I started throwing rocks into the water and at people fishing, and they ticking them off. And then it escalated to, I remember at the end of every Christmas, the town would drag all their Christmas trees down and just kind of throw them over this hillside. So there was still a pile of dead pine trees down there, not smaller ones that would fit in your living room. So we all dragged a tree over and we threw that over the bridge and splashed that in the water. And we kept doing this till eventually guys ran up the creek, ran up the hill. Some guys were actually chasing us in their hip waders. I remember a guy. It didn't follow me. He followed the older kids. Somebody got chased by a guy in his hip waders running through the woods, and a couple other guys got in their car and their truck and drove up the road. And I remember running. And I keep in mind, this is probably 92-ish.
Yeah, that's
1991-ish at that time, or 93. I don't know, mid to early 90s. And so I would have been no more than 8,
10,
between 5 to 8 years old. It's my little legs, but I still remember outrunning these peckerhead guys. So I just remember that.
I remember I lived here by then, but I was probably away for the weekend visiting my dad
so
or whatever.
It might have been more mid 90s.
I can remember coming home Sunday night and you telling me, because I don't know, it was Dave. I think it was your cousin Dave had yelled Greenpeace, save the fish.
Yeah. They were yelling Greenpeace,
pissed off all the
save
redneck.
the fish, which makes us sound noble, but we weren't noble. We were just asshole kids being jerks because it was funny.
Which I think that's a lot of riding anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway. I think it's just kids
that
being
goes to show you the kind of influences I had. I picked up after my older brothers and all the older kids in town as it happens to happen. And so I had some bad influences and for a little while.
Yeah, we were really outnumbered.
Yeah.
Because, like, your brother, they were all, like, 3 to 5 years older than us.
Yeah.
We got bullied a good bit.
A little bit.
I remember John. I probably shouldn't say names. I won't say the last name.
Yeah, I don't bet.
But I remember it was, like, early in school, too, and he hung my ass by my ankles over the bridge right here.
Oh, man.
And I remember crying like such a child.
We could
the
do
whole
a-
day. My whole day was ruined. I mean,
We could do
you
a
can
pod-
imagine as a third grader, though.
That guy, John, whatever. He came out one day. I remember sitting on their back porch, because he had a little sister, Miranda, who was my age, and we were buddies like before we even met you.
Yeah, you and Miranda were tight.
So we were sitting on her back porch, and her older brother John comes out, and he just leans up, comes out, stands behind us, leans against the wall. He's eating an apple, and out of nowhere, he just roundhouse crushes that apple across her head and smashes it everywhere. And
What
she
a
starts
dick.
bawling. Yeah, he was just a dick.
Yeah, your cousins Dave and what was Josh?
Josh.
They were always cool with us, but Brandon, what was it, Derek?
Yeah, Derek.
Oh,
something.
he was a real dick.
He was a spoiled.
You know who you
shit.
are, Derek, if you happen to listen to this.
Yeah.
We're probably bigger than you now, so you probably wouldn't fuck with us anyway.
Sorry,
but,
I watched him get beat up on that bridge by another older kid one time.
and then
Maybe
I
not beat
remember,
up, but he got punched a few times.
was it Randall? I won't say a last name, but I remember
that
that guy caused a lot of trouble. And like growing up as a teenager and then a 20-year-old, I think Leo and I laughed about his shenanigans.
I looked out
that poor family. God bless them. I hope
Yeah.
that things turned out better because that was a rough house.
Yeah. I'll go one more story here before we got to go to a commercial break. But I remember one time me and you, we do stupid shit. For whatever reason, we grabbed some crab apples and we walked this trail. Now, past down the other way of Buffalo Creek, still actually kind of part of the town. There was
This is a good story.
There's a church camp. So there's a church on one side of the creek in Yellowdog, and on the other side of the creek, the owners of the camp, their house is down there on some property right along the creek, and they have a bunch of cabins and shit. And when we were a kid, in the summer, once a year, they would have church camp, and people would come from all over, and all the kids would stay there. It was a really nice camp. I'd still love to own that place. But
it's a shame it fell apart. It was really nice.
But anyway, me and Zach, this is at night, and they have a above ground pool down there with wooden wall like fence around it that you can't really see through. But we could hear the older people in there, just swimming and having a good time. And me and Zach snuck up with crab apples, and we just start lobbing them over the wall into the pool. We hear like, "What was that?" Like, "Ow!" Hey,
Yeah, they
stop
were good Baptists.
And I still
were
remember Zach saying, like, hitting me, saying, "Hey, we should go. And I'm just having too much fun. I'm just like, a couple more, a few more. And out of nowhere, like, out of the darkness, there come the adults. They just appeared, like, looking down, like, "What are you kids doing?" And then they
We
knew
were
who
really
it was.
disappointed in you, Zach, and
Yeah.
Leon.
Yeah,
I
it
can
was-
remember because that was the pastor of the church, and like, I mean, my grandma belonged to the church there,
Yeah.
so I was there every Sunday,
Yeah.
and I could just can remember the eyes burning through me.
Just caught red-handed simply because of too stupid just to leave, just to, like, know when to stop and get out of there, and we've been fine.
I guess I stuck it out with you there, so we both burned.
Yeah. We didn't even get in trouble.
That gives me another good. We did Bible. What was it? Vacation Bible School too. We'd have to come over here, and one of the pastor's wife was giving a talk to the kids, and you had a straw and a spit wad,
Oh, yeah.
and and there was like, I mean, it's a small town. There's maybe 8 kids. I don't know, 10 kids,
Yeah.
and Levon sneakily tries to hold the straw, pull it up to his mouth, spit a spit wad, and hold it down real quick, and not laugh, and she saw him do it. It stuck. It was a perfect spit wad. Stuck to her dress. Great sound. And Leon just looking at the floor trying to not laugh.
Why do we
And
do
just-
that shit when we're young?
No one else is going to think this is funny. But yeah, that was priceless. The moment that Josh said he was going to kick in the door of the church and be like, "Can I worship Satan here?"
Yeah, he said he wanted to say, "Excuse me, sir, may
Most
we
polite.
please worship Satan here?" Just to be funny.
Just to be dick kids.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh was a lot older than us. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was good times.
All
Good,
right.
good laughs.
And
It's a nice day, man.
Yeah,
It's like, 70 degrees or perfect sunlight.
yeah. Good day to podcast and Yellowdog about Yellowdog.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another disclaimer here: if you hear any engine noise there, that's our generator, which is my car, my Suzuki SX4, we're using to power this podcast mixer here.
I gotta say, it's working pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just plug a power inverter up to the battery has like extension cord type adapters and plug away.
yeah, for what, $150 or something you said?
Yeah.
I think that's, if you're into recording, you want to do it outside or.
Yep. At camp, hey, as long as there's gas in the tank,
Mm-hmm.
you got
I was
power.
watching Ryan Bingham during this whole COVID thing. I think he's been up in like Montana or something, just like ranching. But he records on his phone pretty often. He does a lot of covers.
I'll
So he did
check
the
it
Tom
out.
Petty cover.
Yeah.
Oh, what was the name
I
of
haven't
the song?
checked in on that guy in a while.
Oh, he's got such a great voice. So
Yeah.
I know we're gonna do a real band plug, but generally when Leo and I get together, we're thinking about music. So
Yeah,
if you
that's-
don't know who Ryan Bingham is and you like country and western music, not top 40 shit, he is. You should
Yeah.
be spending money on his
I
records.
know I did review him on a podcast before. I think on season 1.
Okay.
That's one of the good things about town. So that was point the finger at my older cousin, my cousins Josh and Dave, mostly Dave. They always had the good new music at the time. So this, then the 90s.
That's how we found Soundgarden.
Yeah, that's how
That's
I
when I
found
started
Guns N'
listening to
Roses and not all his music was winners. We had a big CD collection and just all kinds of shit.
And they would always make us tapes. They would constantly make us.
Yeah.
That's when we listened to Korn for the first time, which I don't listen to at all. But
No.
I remember Blind being such a big deal.
Yeah. Well, this is also MTV was still about music back at the time, like good music. So, but it was like a combination of all that. But I remember we used to sit down in the park, and that was a lot of days we'd just sit down there and listen to when Blood Sugar Sex Magic
Chili
came
Peppers.
out, back when they were still a good rock band. Yes, that was one thing. Here, I remember one time. I know you weren't in town yet before this happened, but I was in my yard over there. My yard went down right over ended right by a road, and there was a drainage ditch, a bigger drainage ditch. So I used to get in and play with Tonka trucks and GI Joes and shit.
Okay.
And one day I remember there's a steeper hill beside my yard, and a car came flying down that hill and couldn't make the turn. And I remember went right past me and slammed into that tree. And I remember one thing.
That's crazy.
I didn't know what it was. There's two guys in it, and they were fine, but it hit the tree so hard that it knocked the transmission and stuff
Out of the car.
back
Wow.
into the cab.
Or
Yeah,
out
it
of
was like
engine
a
bay. Wow, that's crazy.
yeah. I
And
think
so,
it was,
they were on your side, like where you were
No,
playing.
no,
Or
they
was it on the
got-
opposite side of the road.
they were on the opposite side. So it wasn't
You've cheated death a couple times.
yeah, it wasn't close to me really. It was close to me in proximity, but it would have been they were on the other side of the road to begin with, and they just missed a turn, and they were just driving too fast. Or maybe their brakes went out. I don't know.
They were drinking.
I remember, so when we first met up and started hanging out, when you're kids, one of the things you do is, oh, here's my toys, and then you show me your toys. And I remember you had cooler toys than me because you had, I remember you had Snailians.
Oh my goodness, I was into stupid
Well, they were
action
cool at the
figures or
time. You had
Barbie dolls or whatever you want to call them.
you had Snailians and Battle Beasts.
Battle Beasts were pretty cool.
Yeah.
I googled those recently. I think you and I talked about this on season 1 podcast, and after we had done the podcast, I googled them. Those were pretty cool, man. Kids don't have
No.
and they didn't have all the weird moving parts. It was just like a simple rubbery plastic thing that looked like a panther with, I don't know, like a laser beam on one hand or
Yeah.
something. And
I just
I think there was a game you're supposed to play with them too, but
maybe.
they were just cool looking. I honestly don't remember us playing with them.
No.
Oh, here,
Well,
I'm
that's
going
what
to
I-
beat you.
That's what I have here written down because I remember we would have these toys. I remember we'd go build clubhouses.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd build shit to let's go back there and we can play with our toys. And then we'd spend a day building the clubhouse, and then we'd just be like, all right, let's just go shoot our BB guns instead,
Exactly.
I remember,
How many forts or clubhouses did we build?
I don't know. I remember we did one back there.
Remember the
Couple of-
older guys
two
built
or
the zip line?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, I remember
when
that zip line because I
Didn't
remember.
you fall from it one time?
Yeah, they told me to pick my feet up instead of slow down, and I just went slamming into a tree at the far end.
Yeah. I don't think I was there when you
lost my grip.
hit. Yeah, I don't think I was there when you hit the ground, but I do remember hanging out there a lot.
It wasn't that far of a fall, but when you're 3 feet tall or whatever, it seemed like, I fell down a good ways, and there was a big pile of sticks. I remember this big stick sticking up, like, right by it actually scraped my side. If I would have hit it a little bit, it would have done some damage. But I just got the wind knocked out of me and got up and was fine.
You survived just about everything so far.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember taking some titty mags from an unnamed source.
Your dad?
My dad, basically. And that was one thing we would use the clubhouse for that. We did keep in mind we were too young to we didn't even know we didn't know how to to use our dongs at the time, but we would just take and look through.
Like looking at boobs.
That was a thing. We'd keep them in we'd keep them in like an old Lego box or something in the woods. I remember that. One of the funniest things I remember. Do you remember trying to make the phone out of the string?
Yeah,
we
had cans.
The metal soup cans from your bedroom to my bedroom.
We did. We tried to
Because
go over the Scano house.
why? Because walking over was too much work. But it was one of my ideas. I just thought that would work.
So you've not stopped having crazy ass ideas.
No, I've always had stupid shit when I was a kid. Stupid ass ideas. We had that long string, and that's still good. It's probably more
That's
than
a
100.
football field, right? That's
Yeah.
more than a football field.
That's more than probably 120 yards, 130 yards. So the string's sagging on the ground, and of course cars come and run into it and straight. It just was not going to happen. It wasn't going to work, even if we got the string tight enough. It was just too far, too stupid of an idea. But I do remember that. I remember finding kittens from somewhere,
Oh, this is a good one.
and we tried
My sister was mad.
we put their
about
front
this.
legs through the handles of Shop and
Shopping
Save
bags.
or Walmart bag, plastic grocery bags, and drop them out of trees. Not very high, out of the first couple branches or whatever. About 10.
It definitely wouldn't hurt a cat. Cats are
No.
very agile. They can land.
No, so they didn't get hurt. But I remember that.
I remember getting yelled at because my sister caught us, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, it was. It was a stupid idea. I remember.
No cats were harmed.
Yeah, no cats were harmed that we know of. We had a squeaky clean car wash.
That was good. We would
We'd
go the
go
whole way
around,
up too.
we charge a quarter or something, but no,
We do
just
50 cents.
knowing
a quarter
people
for
would
each
give
of
us a couple bucks. We'd use their hose, use all their stuff, and we'd knock on their door and, hey, do you want your car cleaned for 50 cents? And we'd drag all their crap out, clean it up. I assume we put everything back, but we might not have. But
There's a few families that gave us ice cream though. I can remember
Yeah.
some
Well, that
of the
was-
old ladies would be like, "Yeah, sure."
and I knew that would be part of it. I knew we would get fed and get more money than we
Yep.
asked for. And then what we do with the money is we ride our bikes up to Worthington, to Long's Market, and back then you could rent cassette movies, video games.
the one that I can remember was it Down Periscope? Was it it was a comedy about submarines. I want to say it was called Down Periscope, but I can't think of who was in it.
Might be it. There was McHale's Navy or something.
That one too, yeah.
But yeah, maybe Down Periscope.
Yeah, we were into war stuff too. We
Yeah.
were pretty into airplanes.
So yeah, we'd go up there and we'd get snacks and candy and rent movies or video games or whatever. I remember that. I remember the winter of '93. I remember because it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and it was snowing and snowing and snowing, and it was one of them ones that you didn't have to check in the morning. You knew school was canceled.
School's not happening.
So that
we
night
were at home.
Yeah, we were. It ended up becoming for 2 or 3 days. We just sled. Got the sled
Stayed
ride
up
all day.
late, sled until 8, 9 o'clock at night.
I did it so
And then
much.
the whole down around your yard, I remember, because when the plow trucks would go by, the snow was packed so high, we dug a tunnel, an igloo tunnel. It was I don't know, maybe I'm ridiculous, maybe 20 foot long or something. We had multiple holes. You could go into it, crawl through it,
Yeah.
and pop out of it.
Yeah, it was,
Man, we needed good snow.
yeah. If a car had ever slipped and run into there while we were in there,
Yeah, we would have been crushed, but guess what? We're still here.
Yeah. I remember that. I'm
Still listening to the program.
I got that year, that winter, I got severe windburn on my face. I just was outside so much, and I would not go in. You didn't feel shit when you were a kid. Then I get inside, my face was chapped, bad, cracking and kind of bleeding in spots. For months in school, I had that. But then I'd go home and just, my mom and dad would yell, quit, they tried grounding me and shit back then, but I just wouldn't care. I just go out anyway. They'd go to work, and I'm outside, and yeah. One of the coolest memories I remember is we'd listen to music. We'd listen to music wherever.
Yeah, we had a boom box.
But I remember,
Did we plug it in? We had
Yeah, there
'Cause
was.
I remember down in the park there's an outlet, so we
there's-
just plug it in.
Yeah, but I do remember I had a battery-powered like CD. Well, it was a cassette player, and I had the Blood Sugar Sex Magic tape. And I remember going under the bridge here in Yellowdog just so I could listen to Under the Bridge.
Under the Bridge, yeah.
Chili Peppers down there, and that was,
That's a highlight of our childhood.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember catching crayfishes and just whipping them off the side of the bridge, like tadpoles.
Just catching snakes and like just filling like an entire 2-liter bottle of.
Yeah.
We'd, empty the pop out and just snakes or tadpole, just fill it up. Like be like solid animals in there.
Just to torture them and just, you're dicks.
I remember trying to freeze tadpoles one time. We were
Yeah.
going to try to freeze them over the
Yeah, I do
We put them
remember.
in the freezer. We were going to try to thaw them back
I remember
out.
throwing them at your sister one time and her screaming and running around somewhere.
Guess what? It didn't work. The
No.
tadpoles died.
Yeah.
We couldn't freeze them fast enough. Little did we know. We were watching, what was this Sly Stallone? Was it Demolition Man?
Demolition Man.
Because he was
probably.
he was frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So that's
movie.
what gave us
Him
the
and
idea.
Wesley Snipes. Were
Yeah.
like Wesley was the bad guy. I
Yep.
think.
I can remember that's
Yeah.
where we got that idea. It
Forgot
was
about
like,
that.
let's try to freeze a
Yeah,
frog.
I mean, but that you're right. I forgot about that. I know we.
Do you remember the time we put all my sister's Barbies in a tree, like decorated it?
I
And
didn't
my
remember
grandma and we got in a lot of trouble on that one.
Yeah, I'm sure. I
No one else
remember.
is gonna care, but that was a good memory.
I remember we used to play for a while. We played football all the time down in the park.
That was all my birthday parties. 'Cause
Yeah.
we'd invite just everyone from school. I wasn't friends with half of them, but we'd be like, "Hey, we're playing football."
It was cool down in the park too because we didn't use it that much, but they did have horseshoe pits. Each pit had its own. It was a big telephone pole with lights on it. So at any time at night down there, you could flick them lights on, and the lights were bright enough we could play football at night.
Yeah.
So I remember, doing both of those. That was a good time. I remember whipping crab apples out of the park. If you got the right stick, you could fucking launch those things
Yeah, up the hill
all
almost.
towards houses, but the houses were up over a hill, so
Yeah, you're over a half mile away.
Yeah,
you
when
could
you're-
launch.
10 years old, that don't affect us. We never got in trouble for that, but them things were hitting people's
for
windows
sure.
and cars, but
That was a good pastime. I've tried to do it a few times since then, and it's just not the same.
no, you can't.
I can't get the momentum. Like the
Yeah.
inertia, whatever the physics is.
It
I
was
can't
all
get it
about.
right.
I remember you'd spend I'd take an hour finding the right
Mhm.
twig or branch or whatever to meticulously. You had to have some good flex, like a fishing.
It had to
pole.
be a very green branch. It had to be
Yeah.
very alive.
And you had to get the apples had to be. You couldn't get them too hard or too soft. But
That was a lot of fun.
I remember that John that we talked about
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
That jerk kid. I remember there was a gay couple in Yellowdog, and one of them worked at a pet shop. So I remember he had all these animals. He had
Oh
he
yeah,
had
I remember
goats.
these guys.
He had the little goats. And he had an emu,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you call them, like the mini
forgot
ostrich
about this.
things. And John would go out to him, I guess, just to show off, impress people, and he just punched the crap out of them until they'd try to hit him back.
Well, his grandfather lived there too, and his grandpap had goats.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I just remember that. I remember the gay guys. If you walk by their house, you from the outside, you'd hear all these birds. So inside, it just had to been I don't know how they could live like that.
I'm sure it was gross.
It
I'm
was
sure
just loud.
bird shit. And
Yeah.
do you remember sneaking into one of the entrances to the limestone mine over here
Yeah.
behind you?
A couple
I
times.
remember
yeah.
we'd go back. I think we went back to where we got to the big opening where you could turn left or right. It was just like a vacuum. You couldn't see anything. Of course, we were
No.
dumb,
Yeah.
10-year-olds. So we didn't bring flashlights or anything. We're just like, hey, let's go in here.
Yeah.
And if we would have taken that turn, it's highly unlikely we would have found our way back
yeah,
out.
there's miles and miles of tunnels. It's just crisscross and yeah. Even with a flashlight, you can get lost in there for a long time. I remember we lived in the duplexes, and our neighbor Leroy had. Remember he'd give us the rolls of firecrackers.
You would, yeah.
I remember. So my parents would have. They would have these
Huge
4th of July parties that the
Big.
whole town, all their friends would invite, and it was it was really
I
big.
can remember. I don't even know where all the cars parked. I remember there's so many people.
I think they just parked. Yeah, well, a lot of people in the town wouldn't park, and all of our friends and shit. My parents' friends, they just park along the roads wherever they could. And I remember, I've only seen him a couple times. Some uncle or some friend. I don't know. I don't know what the deal with the guy was. But I just remember he had he had one of them Ford Econoline, full size vans. and full of fireworks. And this was like, most of it was the good shit. Back then you could get some like, you get like half sticks of dynamite and
I
stuff.
remember someone tossed a half stick in the fire pit the one night, and I felt like the ground shook.
Yeah. I remember once somebody blew up a turtle with like a
Yeah, who
quarter
the hell was
stick.
that?
I don't know. It wasn't me, but
Yeah, we weren't that dicks.
yeah, I remember we'd get just rolls. We'd get rolls of firecrackers, and that would be like, that was a few weeks of fun at least. We wouldn't light them all off at once. We'd just blow up whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you get them bigger. They're about the same size as firecrackers, but they're like bigger. But they were more like waterproof.
M80. Was it the M80?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, M80s.
I remember that. That was a good time.
Yeah, your family always had like 4th of July and then Halloween. Your dad always had a lot of decorations for Halloween. Was a big deal.
He got into those things. I don't know why. But, I mean, I guess he had for us, the kids, but yeah, he really decorated up for stuff. And they had the Sportsman's Club down the road. Remember, they had their big summer parties too. Those were a great time. The kids they'd have the sawdust piles.
Oh, the sawdust piles.
You'd hunt for the coins, and if you found like I don't know how many there'd be like silver dollars, but a couple of the quarters would have like be sharpied, and if you found it, you got like gift cards or something. You got prizes or something. I mean, them guys they'd get so drunk down there. All the parents.
Yeah, we'd just be allowed to drink as much pop as we wanted.
Yeah,
like get all caffeine and sugared up.
That was
eat as much as we wanted.
Back then,
they didn't even pay attention to us. They're just like, oh, yep, there's kids. Yeah. Like, it's so weird. You think nowadays, and like being a father now, I don't know, like, not as inclined as my wife is to like watch and hawk over them. Yeah. Because I guess because of how Levon and I were raised, we're like, well, we just figured it out. We survived.
You just gotta
like we didn't have like nowadays if two boys were riding a bicycle up 2 to 3 miles away from their house, people were like concerned, like, oh, you might get picked up. Like shit, Levon and I never got raped. We never got picked up or kidnapped or.
We'd be gone for, like I said,
we'd be gone for a whole day, just totally gone.
Yeah. There was times, my parents would be at work all day, and we were just, on the weekends, my grandma and stuff lived in town, and they would also, one thing about the town is if we were doing anything, like, too bad,
someone caught us. Yeah. They're generally are looked out for.
We could go ride our bikes to Worthington or whatever, but you just knew, like, it's, even like nowadays, if you don't ride on the road, you'll get hurt. Somehow it'd be a lawsuit. Back then, you just here comes a car, move off the fucking road, and you're fine.
Yeah, move over.
But how times change. One of the funniest. I got the two best stories on here I remembered for last. One of the best memories. So, the owners of the town lived up on top of the hill. They had like the castle. It was just a house bigger than ours, but like not much bigger. But for whatever reason, they wanted that pet goat.
That goat was like a full-size goat,
yeah,
too.
This was like a bigger Billy goat. I think the Billy, whatever. It was a bigger goat, and the thing would get out. It was a typical like mean goat. It didn't want to be chained up. Why they had it, I don't know. But every once in a while, it would get out. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I was on top of the hill. I don't know why. I was just up on the top road. And the wife's owner, she was just up there bitching about something, as she kind of tended to do a lot. And she's up there complaining about something. I actually think about the goat being loose. Probably complaining for a good reason. And she didn't know that goat was behind her, like, clawing at the grass, whatever they do. And it fucking rammed her from behind and knocked her down over that little hill, like right onto the road. Right, full face plant. And I was a little kid, and she was yelling at me because I just lost it and was laughing my ass off. It was so funny. It was like...
I don't think I was around for that. I feel like I would have remembered that one.
You're probably at your dad's or something for the weekend. It was something like that. And like I said, I don't know why I was even there. I just happened to be like the only one there, and it was great. And
thanks a lot, goat. Well, I remember that goat chased my sister one time, scared the shit out of her. My grandma had to come out and try to, bully it away.
Yeah.
Which didn't work because my grandma wasn't a big woman, but she was brave.
And the other story I remember, we had a couple kids move into town. They were good fun. I'll beep their last name out. The Scanos.
I was gonna say we have to talk about the Scanos
because they were like a year so younger than us.
One was Kira's age.
Yeah.
They were like a year older, I think.
They were Italian Americans, but more Italian than American. They looked like Beavis and Butthead.
They did.
They literally just looked just like Beavis and Butthead, and they even kind of talked like the one that looked like Butthead kind of had a deeper voice, like, and the other one that had like blonde hair, and like, hey, yeah, he kind of like talked like Beavis sometimes. It was so funny, and they loved
AC/DC.
Yeah, they loved they're another big influence.
AC/DC.
They loved like AC/DC, Van Halen. They
As
like
much as we loved
Steelers, Penguins. Like they were just like local redneck, like not rednecks, but into like
they were Pittsburgh, man.
Pittsburghers all the way,
with the good and bad traits.
But then one day, I don't know, they got a BB gun too.
I
remember sitting down at the park bench, and I forget whatever hell we were raising, because you and Chris, I think you and one of them was, you were off doing something with a BB gun, and me and I think it was Corey. I might have the names mixed up, but me and the other one, the blonde hair one, we were sitting down on a park bench, and we already did shit, like we were already shooting stuff we weren't supposed to, and that same woman that got hit with the goat, the town owner's wife, she came down, was chewing us out, as she should have. I'm sure we deserved it. She was chewing me and the one kid out. And as she's yelling at us, you two just weren't paying attention. You and the other one, I remember, like, you both had BB guns, like leaning over your
strolling along.
shoulder, strolling along. And you both stopped and saw her, like, yelling at us. And for your credit, it wasn't you. It was one of the scanos. Leaned down, took aim, and shot, and hit her in the leg, and she jumped up. What the hell? Or hit beside her or something.
He did, that asshole.
And then, like, she turned around, and you two just dog-legged it, ran under the bridge, snuck across, ran into the woods, and just ran away. Keep in mind, our house, we all live here. She knows who we are. Where we live. Like,
priceless.
So funny. So
priceless.
Stupid. I just remembered that, and, like,
I hope those guys hear that. I hope they remember some of the shenanigans that we all got into.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, these are my memories. I'm sure there's probably like funnier ones that I just don't remember. You know,
I don't know if other people are going to realize how pure and good they are, because you got to experience it. I hope other kids had what we had in Shadyside and Yellowdog.
Yeah,
it was a great place to grow up.
Yeah,
like,
small town living.
Something very special about it. Like, you know, I'm not a great person, but I feel like it gave you some characteristics that other people didn't get from local.
I'm glad we grew up in the time, you know, we did too, and I'm glad before before the internet.
Yeah.
Pre-internet days where you would you just go outside and do stuff. So I guess we're getting close here to wrap this thing up. Man, I didn't even have a band plug prepared. Have you been listening to anything good lately?
Yeah, I came prepared. I've been listening to the new Spirit Adrift record.
Adrift?
They are just like a kind of a typical hard rock type heavy metal crossover band, so it'd be more related to traditional Sabbath or something like that.
That's cool.
But yeah, just a two-piece. Dude plays guitar. There's a drummer. But yeah, they got strong vocals, good, heroic galloping rock and roll.
I think I know I've listened to them.
I've introduced you to them before, but I'd say
I always forget.
I can't remember what the name of their new record is, but it just came out within the past month. So, look them up.
Awesome.
They're really cool.
You brought me the beer review and the band plug today, so good job on your part.
I don't do much, but when I do, I come through.
Cool. All right, that's gonna wrap this episode up. So
cool.
That's
good to bullshit, Levon.
I hope it's our childhood in a nutshell.
Yeah, I hope. You ever just passing through, take a long drive down Buffalo Creek Road so you can see the monstrosity that
you can see it rotting away. But keep in mind that white little building down in the smaller white building at the bottom used to be a candy store. That's how cool this town was. So
get stuffed.
Alrighty, podcastration out till next episode. Later, bags.
That was our show, and now we gotta run.